Today we're going to be talking about cone and square base pyramids. For example, right here, this is going to be a cone. It almost looks like an ice cream cone flipped upside down. It is a solid or a three-dimensional object with a circular flat base joined to a curved side that ends in a point at the top of the apex. So here it has all the labels on the cone. Remember, a vertex is a point. So here's your vertex, the only point on the cone. Remember, your height is straight up from the base and it creates that 90-degree angle. Your slant height is exactly what it states, the slanted side. Okay, so that's your slant height. Your center is the center of your circular flat base. Remember, your radius is from the center all the way to the outside. Your diameter is from one point of the circle all the way to the other, as long as it cuts through the middle. And then here you have a square base pyramid. And the reason it's square base pyramid is because the base of it is going to be a square. So all sides are congruent and they create right angles. So as it states here, the base is a square and the sides are triangles which meet at the top or the apex. So this can be considered the apex in both of your figures. So you're going to have 4 triangles that fold up and create a square base pyramid. Your height is again straight up from the base, and then you have your side height or your slant height, which is going to be along the side here. It'll be a slant just like shown above. Lowercase b stands for base. That's important that it's lowercase. S stands for slant height. H is for height. To find the surface area of these figures, so of a cone, here you have your height, which is 9, slant height, which is 10, and radius, which is 3. So given the formula, remember you have to have these steps on your assessments if you want to have full credit. So surface area equals pi is 3.14 times the radius, which is 3. L is going to represent your slant height. So when it shows L, I'm going to write 10 feet plus pi times your radius squared. So 3 squared. Remember, order of operations states that we need to multiply before we add. So I'm going to type in my calculator 3.14 times 3 times 10, and you should get 94.2 plus, here you need to find your power first. So 3 squared is 9 times 3.14 is going to give you 28.26. I need to see this step. So your final answer, you add these together, and you should get 122.46 feet, and its area, so it's squared. If you were to take your cone and fold it out flat, this is what the figure would look like. Here is your base, and here is your triangle folded out. This is called the net figure. In example 2, you're finding the surface area of the square base pyramid. Okay, 1/2 times your slant height, which is 6, times P. P stands for the perimeter. So the perimeter, P is the perimeter of the base. So if my base is 8, and it is a square, 8 times 4 is going to give me 32. And then the capital B is the area of the base. So let's make a side note of that. Okay, so again, 8 times 8, because the area of a square is s squared. So 8 times 8 is 64. Again, you need to multiply before you add your results together. So you're going to get 96 plus 64 to give you 160. And this is centimeters squared. If you were to take the pyramid and fold it out flat, this is what it would look like. This is your net figure. Let's move on to volume. Turn the page till you see the volume of cones and square-based pyramids. Here's your cone and your square-based pyramid. Remember, to find the volume of something, it's basically to fill it up. Okay, so if you were in a word problem and you had to fill up a figure, that is going to lean towards volume. Because of the calculators that we have, we're going to use for 1/3 remember that 1/3 is 0.3 repeating. So one option that you're going to have for the volume of a cone is you need to multiply your pi times r squared times h, then multiply it by 1/3. One option you could do is divide it by 3, because that's the same thing as multiplying by 1/3. So looking at this example, I'm going to look at 3.14 times 3 squared, which is 9, times 9, and I'm going to get 254.34. Now I can take that in my calculator and divide by 3. That is one option to solve that. But because this is a repeating fraction, you can't type in 1/3 times all of these things. So this is going to be feet cubed. Now let's look at the volume of a square-based pyramid. 1/3 times capital B, which means the area of the base. So the area of the base will be 16, because that's going to be 4 times 4. Times your height, which is 5. So you want to show 16 times 5, you get 80. Now you can multiply that by 1/3. You could also, instead of multiplying 80, instead of saying 80 divided by 3, you could multiply fractions like we did earlier in the year. Remember, you go straight across, numerator times numerator, which is 80, denominator times denominator, which is 3, and you get 80 divided by 3, which gives you 26, and it's 26.6 repeating. You need to have that repeating symbol on there unless otherwise stated. This would be centimeters cubed. Ask your teacher if you have any questions.